Hey everybody, my name is Kylie Davila, and I'm super excited to be speaking tonight with my good friend, one of my really closest friends that we've known each other since I don't know what grade. We went to school together, played ball together, but Meagan Rose. And so we're going to be coming to you guys tonight. We titled our message, our call tonight, what's working well to build trust, develop influence, and grow organically. So we kind of got on this topic with a totally different topic. We originally were just chatting back and forth. We talk like every day, and we were talking about retention and all the systems that we have for retention. And there's a bunch because there's not just like one set thing that works for everybody. Some people prefer to do it different. We have like a 4-step one, we have one that's like more in depth, tons of resources, right? So we were talking about retention, but we got on the subject of there's like another part of retention, or like another part of your business that plays into your retention, because we were like, well, you can be doing whatever system and following up and being super consistent and following it to the T, but if you're not showing up and doing these things in your business, it's going to impact your retention. And so it kind of like goes together. So that's what brought all this about, is like us just discussing. And when I look at Meagan is somebody who, like, when I say I trust somebody, I like fully trust Meagan. And I know I can depend on her. She is somebody that if you were to go and, look at her page or how she shows up, she's very authentic. And she's somebody who, if you want to go look at skills of how you should show up and do all the things, she is somebody you can follow and you can like depend on. And so I was like, hey, can I ask you some questions? Because I'm pretty sure everybody wants to pick your brain, like what's going on back here, and kind of get your insight, and like what do you focus on? And everybody's different. Like we talked about that too, how everybody shows up differently. But Meagan is amazing. And so that's what we're going to do today, is just talk about building trust, developing influence, and growing organically, because you have to have those things in your business if you want to be successful. So number one, first area that I'm going to, or first question, I should say, not area, but first question I'm going to ask Meagan is, when you show up, what are the top things that you want your audience to see from you, and how does that build trust?
Hey guys, if you don't know me, my name is Meagan Rose. Kylie, thank you so much for saying all those kind things. That made me so happy. I appreciate you. Um, okay, so ways that I show up and build trust with my audience. So, the first thing I want to touch on is like me showing up, let's like for my team. I want to touch on that first. So, I make it a huge priority of mine to be on team calls and be on book club. Um, because I want to set the standard for what I expect from my team as they grow into becoming leaders themselves. So team club or team calls and book club, camera on, and I'm always making sure that I am engaging. Um, that is just so important for me showing up for my team. As for showing up for my audience, like on like how I like to share on social media, I make sure I just stick to myself. I show up authentically. Authentic. I don't try to be someone I'm not. Okay. I know it can be hard for people, like, you know, people who don't know how to show up, or if they're new to this, they, look at other people, but always show up true to yourself and how you are, because no one is you and you are amazing. Also, you want to make sure that you are connecting with other people outside of Plexus. So when I share on social media, I make sure to add value, because adding value is you're going to gain influence and you're going to be able to connect authentically with other people, right? You want to genuinely be interested in what other people are doing in their life. You want to, have shared values with other people because that builds trust. That, makes you have things in common, and it gives you something to talk about. It gives you something to build a relationship on. So connection is just super important. The ways of sharing on social media that have worked for me, guys, you got to get on your stories. And I know that is scary when you're first starting out, but the good thing about stories is it's not a live video. Like, you guys don't even know how many times I'm on my stories, like recording something, and I have to discard it and start all over. Like, that's a great thing about stories. It's good practice for when one day you you do go live, you know? Stories are amazing. I try to show up on them at least 5 times a week. I'm typically on my stories 7 days a week. And mainly that's just me holding myself accountable, and just, I want to show up. I want people to see my face every day. So when you're posting on your stories, yes, I do share videos, I do share graphics, but I always make sure that people see my face. And I know some of you are probably like, I don't want to do that. You got to do it. You got to show up on your stories. Um, as for Facebook, I've I think it's good to utilize multiple platforms. So if you have Facebook and Instagram, something that's cool about that is you can cross post. So you can post on Instagram, and there's like a little thing in your settings where that post will go to Facebook. And it's super simple. Um, and you just cross post it along both platforms. Um, guys, another thing, like, this was getting me out of my comfort zone. You gotta start utilizing reels, because I have come to find out that, and I saw a reel about this, and it was a person who said, when you post reels, they don't have to be this long, drawn out production. They said 7 seconds, make a catchy title on like the reel itself, put some trending audio over it, and prompt them to go to the caption. You add value in the caption. The reel is just there to catch their eye. So that, I tried that the other day. I actually tried it with my dogs, and it blew up on Facebook. Like, within 5 minutes, it had like 2,000 views. I was like, okay. So there's something behind it. Get out of your comfort zone, just practice. It just takes practice, y'all. Same thing with stories. And just like consistency and doing these things, showing up as yourself, is going to build trust and help you gain influence with other people. That was long, sorry.
No, that was so good. I love how you were saying that, like, when you show up, yeah, it is hard. I get it, but because when I first started, I was like, I will not do a video. Like, absolutely not. I don't want anybody to see my face. I was so embarrassed. Like, I didn't want people to hear my voice, everything. So I know, but the more you do it, it really does get easier. And I still, like Megan said, I will make a story and then I will delete it and I'll be like, oh, I messed up. Or, I mean, ask Annie. We were in the Dominican and I'm like, well, didn't like that one. Gonna redo this. I'm like walking through our little room and whatever. But um I view it as, you have to have your cup of coffee with your audience. Like, that's how, if you're going to go meet your girlfriend at a coffee shop somewhere and have coffee with them, that's what you're doing. When you're showing up on your stories and you're talking and just showing you like your day, what you're doing. It's not just Plexus. Yeah, Plexus is incorporated in my day because that's a part of my life. So it's really big, but you want to have a cup of coffee with your audience and just build that to where people are going to be like, they're going to feel like they know you, even if you've never met them or you don't ever see them. They're like Meagan said, she's had people that have told her, I feel like I know you, even though we don't talk. Like, I feel like I literally know you. And so, a good question you could ask yourself is your content, whatever you're posting, do you feel like if somebody was to come to your page that does not know you, do you feel like they would actually be like, wow, I really like, I feel like I know who she is in a sense, if y'all get that. So that's really good. Megan's so good at that. But number two question I have for her, because she did mention, when in all these areas, you do have an audience, like people you're just trying to attract to get on to the products and stuff. And then you also have your business builders, like people. So there's like two different areas. So number two, what do you think are the main things that you do that attract business builders?
So what I get a lot of traction with people that, they reach out to me and they're like, you seem really serious about this. And I'm like, yeah, I am. Like, I'm dead serious about this. And so it's super important to be confident in what you're saying and believe what you're saying. So I don't know how you guys are, but me as a person, if someone isn't truly behind their words, I feel that. I can sense that. Um, so you have to be confident in how you speak to people, how you speak about this business, your belief in this business, and you have to believe, like, guys, you have to believe that what we have here can truly change lives. If you don't believe that, it's going to come out in your words, if that makes any sense. Um, and it's going to be super tough to attract people if you are not confident and if you do not believe what you're saying. So another thing, my dogs just woke up, sorry. Another thing I do is when it comes to attracting people to this business, I like, as soon as I sign on somebody like a product user, I immediately immerse these people into our culture. Like, immediately, right after they sign up. I get them super excited. I tell them about our team page. I tell them that we have an app that's super easy to handle. I tell them about Pivotal. We have so many resources for them to get them immersed into our culture, and they need to see how amazing it is here. And again, it comes to your stories. Like, I talk about this business and this opportunity in my stories all the time. You really have to show people what's possible, because a lot of people don't understand. They just don't get it. They're like, oh, whatever, I might make an extra, like, what, $50 a month? No, it's a lot more than that. And whenever, like, if you're at an event or like convention, or if you're having your own like sip and see or whatever, you have to make sure to like broadcast that. Like, show it on your social media, show it on your stories. It really does attract people, and it shows people like what we do is fun. And that's what a lot of people are missing in their lives, is fun and community. And they have to know about what's possible here, because today inflation sucks and we all need help. And that's just the truth. So you just have to make sure you're letting people know what we have here and immersing them in culture.
Yeah, it definitely takes a seriousness. Like that word serious, it actually came to mind like years ago that I was like, you really have to like you can't just be all fun and like beat around the bush. Like you have to show people that you're taking this seriously because that is what is like attractive. And also like your consistency of showing up and stuff, like it's okay if you ask somebody on your welcome calls or whatever, and you're like, hey, have you ever thought about doing this business? Or, hey, Plexus has two sides to it. It has the products, which we've just got you started. It also has like the business. Have you ever thought about doing something like this? If they say no, it is okay. I kind of feel like the other day, Melissa Eichenhorst was talking about exposures and how it can take up to 20 exposures for people to finally see. And that's not just Plexus. That's like if you see this cute boutique that the ad keeps popping up, you're probably not going to buy it on the first few exposures. It could literally be the 20th exposure that you're like, oh my gosh, I keep seeing this. I'm going to buy this. Like, I really want this. And so I kind of view the business like that too, that once I get somebody onboarded, it's okay if at first they don't want to jump in. That's really cool if they do. But I also think about like exposures and like layering stuff and stuff like that too. So my third question and final question that I had for Meagan was when she reflects back like on her journey for through the last few years, what are the top things that have contributed to your success? Like what are those top things?
So for me, I really feel like it takes a lot of emotional maturity, as in you have to be able to accept constructive criticism from your sponsor or from whoever, honestly, whoever is giving it to you, because anybody here, they just want to help you and they just want to support you. And Kylie's given me lots of constructive criticism that I take it in and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to try that. And when I try it, guess what? Good stuff happens. So when someone gives it to you, it's not like, don't take it personally. Take it as, hey, this person has been here before and they know what they're talking about. And let me just give it a try and see what happens. Because I promise you, more than likely, you're going to be like, wow, I should have done that a long time ago. Um, Also, like, I really take pride in like my customer care system. Um, Maybe to the point to where people are like, dang, she's checking in a lot. But it's just I feel like giving them that good customer care and letting them know that you care about them, because sometimes people don't really have anyone that cares that much. Like they just don't have that support system, and having someone show up for them that truly is invested in their health along with them and that cares about their health, it's going to make them feel really good and it's going to make them want to stay. Like they're going to have so much more belief when they have that support, in my opinion. Um, and then on hard days, because there are hard days and there will be more, um, I always go back to my why. And if you don't have a why written down, what are you doing? You you really need to sit down. You need to take like 30 minutes, and maybe not even that long, but you need to sit down and you need to figure out why you want this to work, why you want this business, why you want to be successful here, okay? Um because that right there is what's going to really keep you moving forward and staying in action. And staying in action is one of mine as well. Now, this is going to look different for people. And it's also going to depend on what season you're at in your life. I was listening to a podcast that Brittany Howard did, and she was saying, don't compare your action to anyone else's action. You have to figure out what works best for you and figure out like where that bare minimum is, because if you're going through like a really hard time in your life, if you have a lot of things going on, you need to figure out what that bare minimum is. That way you can at least go to bed proud of yourself, knowing that you did something instead of nothing. Because I feel like I've had guilt. Like I've gone to bed at night whenever I didn't like do my stuff because I was having like a hard day. And I laid down and I was like, dang it. And I kind of like beat myself up about it, you know, not saying that's healthy. Don't do that. But I'm just saying, find your bare minimum, something you can do even on the hardest of days. That way you can go to bed proud. And honestly, like personal growth, guys, being on team calls, being on book club, listening to podcasts, all that has contributed.
Yeah, and I think your consistency, and like for everybody, like your consistency is going to speak so loud, because you can know all the things and like the knowledge or say whatever, but if you're not consistent, that is going to break the trust. And I think especially you guys in the beginning, I like sometimes when people get started, that is like the scariest moment of because there's nothing, like you don't have any evidence that you're actually going to do what you're saying you're going to do or what you're setting out to do. So it's so fragile in the beginning because you have nothing. But I try to tell people, I'm like, hey, don't get discouraged if people watch your stories for months and months before all of a sudden they're reaching out to you, because your consistency is what is like bridging that gap. Because so many people are starting and stopping things now that people will watch you, and they want somebody who's going to be dependable, that in 6 months from now you're still going to be here showing up. And when I see Meagan, like she's never not showed up. Yeah, there's hard days. There's days you don't show up. There's stuff in life. There's vacations, stuff like that that happens. But the majority of the time, she is always showing up. I never have to say, "Hey, Meagan, you need to be on book club." She initiate like she's very self-motivated because she knows what she wants and where she's going. And her belief and her consistency in the way she shows up attracts people and like builds that trust and develops influence for both her business builders and just people like doing the products and stuff. That's so important. And then one thing I wanted to say about emotional maturity, I had never heard of that till Ruby Retreat. And I was like, wow, okay, this is something even everybody needs to like emotional maturity, because in this business, you are going to have to get some criticism. You're going to do something, you're going to fail, you're going to mess up, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, why did I do that? But really having the stance of like that person actually cares enough to say something because they want the best for me. And at Ruby Retreat, one of my biggest takeaways, because I have the hardest time telling people hard things, like I don't like it, but Brittany Howard said you have to be more afraid that they're gonna fail than if they're gonna quit on you because you're saying something hard. And so I try to keep that in the back of my mind, and I'll like talk myself up. I'm like, all right, let's do it. And Fallon always says to, every 10 compliments, give one constructive criticism. Okay, I know we have just a few minutes, but how we wanted to like end this is kind of give you guys some stuff like a call to action and some stuff. And Megan's gonna kind of wrap it up. But what I wanted to say is something that will be really good for you guys is find somebody who really motivates you, like somebody that is hitting all the marks and plexus, like their team is on fire, momentum. It could be literally someone on this team, like Megan's team is been growing like crazy, but it could be whoever inspires you and speaks to you and like calls you higher. I want you to just like take a healthy assessment of what are the skills that, like, what are they doing? There is a fly. Um, what are the skills that they're like, how are they showing up? How often are they showing up? What are they doing on their stories? How are they posting on their Facebook wall? Just take an assessment of like, I don't want this to be a comparison of person to person. I want it to be, what are they doing? Like, what actions are they doing that are getting them into momentum and this massive growth and hitting all this stuff? Just take a healthy assessment and then say, you know what? I'm not doing those things. So write down some stuff. All right, this is what that person's doing. So guess what I'm going to do? That same thing, but put your own spin on it. You need to stay authentic to you and sounds like you. So just a healthy assessment. And then Megan's going to give you guys some things that we're going to leave you with that will help with consistency and bring clarity and like what you can do.
Okay, guys, so I think when it comes to figuring out like what you should share, a good tip or what I like to do is you kind of want to brand yourself. You kind of want to like choose 5 areas you want to focus on and make that like your brand. And this is like actually a lot easier than you think. Like, don't overcomplicate it. Literally, you can go to your Facebook or your Instagram or wherever you post, and you can look and see what are the main things I'm talking about. And those are probably going to be the areas that you focus on because that's what you're interested in. But like questions to ask yourself, like, what can I do to add, or what can I post that will add value to my audience? What do you like to do? Or what are your hobbies? What are you learning right now? This can be like in book club or in a podcast. What are you learning? What are you trying to work on that could help other people as well? Like me, I'm trying to find meals that are easy because I kind of suck at cooking. So I'm going to go to Sam's and get the pre-made meals that I can just heat up in my microwave or the oven, like that's what I'm going to do. And I posted about that on my stories, and like 15 people reached out to me and they were like, let me know what you find. That was so easy. Um, so look at your Facebook, take like an assessment of your Facebook. What are you posting? And what adds value the most? Like for me, I have 5 things. I have fitness, I have like travel adventure stuff, I have family and faith stuff, personal growth. That's where I like post quotes and like add my personal growth to it, and plexus. So don't overcomplicate it. It's not hard. And I want to challenge you guys to think of the 5 things that you want to focus on for branding yourself. And I don't know, maybe we can hold each other accountable and like pop this in our Empower chat. Like I can put mine in there after Pink Power call. I know we're running late. So like after Pink Power, because I want you guys to focus on that. But maybe afterwards, just in the Empower chat, like write your 5, yes, and dogs. Write your 5 things that you want to focus on when it comes to branding yourself. We can hold each other accountable that way. And then, yeah, well, sorry, that's it. I just had a brain fart. But if Kylie doesn't have anything else to add, we can hop on Pink Power. But I just wanted to say, you guys, I hope that what I shared and what Kylie shared, you got a lot of takeaways from it, and it was super helpful. And just, guys, just believe in yourself and show up for you and show up authentically, because no one is you and you are amazing. So, okay, sorry we ran over by a minute, but I'll see you guys on Pink Power.